Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Prime. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In the next 1 hour, we bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates mega infrastructure projects in Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. India's Foreign Secretary is visiting Bangladesh to take forward the warm ties between the two nations. Also updates from the Parliament. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and Russia's Vladimir Putin will speak today amid the mounting tensions over Ukraine. All that and more. First, the big news at the Sun. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicates developmental projects in Gorakhpur. Prime Minister says when there is double-engine government, then work takes place in double speed. Also says even calamities can't become obstacles if work is done with honest intentions. India's cumulative vaccination coverage crosses 128.76 crore. Recovery rate stands at 98.36%. In Mumbai, 2 more cases of Omicron variant detected. Total cases in Maharashtra reach 10. Indian economy shows strong signs of recovery, upswing in 19 of 22 economic indicators. Latest levels of high-frequency indicators in September-October. Estimates of GDP recently released for Q2 of 2021-22 show a growth of 8.4%. Today is Armed Forces Flag Day. President, Vice President, Prime Minister extend greetings to the personnel for their distinct contribution to the nation. Prime Minister says their perseverance and courage are outstanding. WHO's expert group on immunization all set to meet today to discuss evidence of booster doses of COVID-19 vaccine. Italy's new COVID restrictions banning fully unvaccinated people from public spaces comes into effect. New York City announces plan to issue vaccine mandate for private sector employers and young children from age group 5 to 11. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaks to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky ahead of US President Joe Biden's virtual meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Biden likely to warn Russia of severe economic consequences on Ukraine. Let's now begin with the top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated mega development projects worth over 9,600 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh's Gorakhpur today. He inaugurated a fertilizer plant, fully functional complex of AIIMS Gorakhpur, and a new building of ICMR, Regional Medical Research Center today. Prime Minister said these projects will bring a wave of economic development in the eastern parts of Uttar Pradesh. In a boon for farmers, Prime Minister dedicated the Gorakhpur fertilizer plant that will help in achieving self-sufficiency in production of urea. After a span of some 3 decades, the plant will revitalize the economic growth of the region. Spread over an area of 600 acres, it has been a dream project for Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Gorakhpur plant project has the world's tallest pralling tower of 149.2 meters and is capable of producing 31 megawatt of electricity, more than its requirement. Prime Minister said India will increase fertilizer subsidy in 2021-22. And Prime Minister Modi also dedicated to the nation a fully functional complex of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Gorakhpur. The state-of-the-art hospital has been constructed with a cost of around 1,000 crore rupees. It will be a boon for patients from Purvanchal, Bihar and Nepal. And a new building of the ICMR, Regional Medical Research Center, was also inaugurated. The center has been instrumental in tackling the challenge of Japanese encephalitis, acute encephalitis syndrome in the region. And my colleague Arun Sharma is joining us with more updates on the mega inauguration by Prime Minister of the projects in Gorakhpur. Arun, in the times of pandemic, there is no denying the significance of health infrastructure project. In such a time, AIIMS Gorakhpur comes up, and also a state-of-the-art ICMR center in the district.
Absolutely. So focus of the government has been on the fact that how can the health infrastructure can be made robust in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. I mean, nobody could have imagined, 7 to 8 years back that even, places like Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh, Rajkot in Gujarat, some of the northeastern states, even the hilly region of our country will be having the AIIMS Institute primarily for the treatment of the patient, or primarily for the primary, secondary, and the tertiary healthcare system of our society. But yes, now we have AIIMS in places or districts like Gorakhpur, and of course in many other parts of our country. So focus of the government is to at least open one medical college in every district of our country, and to have the AIIMS Institute possibly and probably in all the states of our country. As of now, we have close to 22 to 24 AIIMS Institute all across the country. And the focus has been to create a robust network of the healthcare facility all across the country. Uttar Pradesh being the largest state of our country, the focus is on one side to create a robust healthcare infra in form of AIIMS Institute. So on the other side, the primary healthcare center. I mean, as of now, they're close to 1.5 lakh primary healthcare center all across the country. And to upgrade this primary healthcare center to provide better healthcare facilities in this healthcare center is the focus of the government. Now, Uttar Pradesh, as far as creating a robust healthcare infrastructure, there's also a fact that be it the oxygen plants or the mega oxygen plants in each and every district, how can that be made operational as soon as possible? So on the other side, initiatives like Ayushman Bharat Yojana has played a significant role in providing free healthcare treatment up to 5 lakh rupees, and it is giving benefit to close to 50 crore people all across the country, and the largest beneficiaries are there in the state of Uttar Pradesh. So yes, in that context,
right.
Initiatives like AIIMS and of course the ICMR, where the research, the focus is on research and development to study, about various diseases, and of course as far as the sampling is concerned, collection of the samples are concerned. So for this, primarily Gorakhpur will become a major hub in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Now this for research purposes, of the medical purposes, these samples will not be sent to big cities like Lucknow, or the capital city like Lucknow, or probably in Delhi. But yes, now Gorakhpur will be having that mega healthcare infrastructure facilities which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated today. And let me mention this point as well, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he led the foundation stone of AIIMS, and of course the urea or the fertilizer plant in Gorakhpur, and now primarily he is inaugurating or dedicating it to the nation. So this shows the commitment that how fast track of the projects are being done under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Right. Arun, also Prime Minister has time and again spoken about how hallmark of good governance is also, as you mentioned, to start a project but also conclude it, take it to the finish point. You mentioned the fertilizer factory. It is going to be transformative for the fertilizer production, for the jobs that it's going to create in the region and for the people.
And this will also make a state of Uttar Pradesh self-reliant in terms of fertilizers. And also a country like India will become self-reliant as far as fertilizers are concerned, or primarily the urea is concerned. Now, as of now, if you look at the demand of the urea in our country, the total demand as of now is close to 350 lakh tons. That is what the current demand of urea in our country is. As of now, we are producing close to 250 lakh tons of urea in our country. That means 100 lakh tons we are still importing from other countries. So government is focusing as to how can we restart various fertilizer plants so that we can fulfill our requirement and also become Atmanirbhar. Plants like Gorakhpur, there has been restarted today. We have again the Barauni plant, we have Sindri plant, plants in Telangana and Odisha as well. So these fertilizer plants will ensure that there is abundance as far as the urea is concerned. Number two, in last 7 years, we have seen that how government has formed a proper mechanism for monitoring of the fertilizer plants right from start to the end, so that there is complete transparency as far as the fertilizer plants are concerned. And again, third point is that how government has focused on the fact that how can gas pooling can be done for the fertilizer plants, because this gas pooling is really a cause of concern sometimes. Because of the lack of gas, the fertilizer plants have to shut down. But now this proper gas pooling mechanism that is happening, and that's the reason proper gases are available to the fertilizer plants so that they can produce urea. And last but not the least, Shubhendu, neem coating of the urea. Now, when we talk about ending the corruption, as far as this sector is concerned, neem coating urea has played a significant role, because earlier, when urea was available, at that point in time, the black marketing of urea was done, so that there were various middlemen. They used to black market the urea. But now, because of the neem coating of the urea can only be utilized for the farming purposes, and that's the reason, and that is how the government has taken control over this kind of black marketing that used to happen. And now the farmers are being provided with the neem coating urea. That is the need of the hour. So in that context, yes, on one side, India will become Atmanirbhar. On the other side, corruption will not be there as far as the urea is concerned. It will directly reach to the beneficiaries who all require. And last but not the least, it will create job creation. It will create ample amount of job opportunities as far as this fertilizer sectors are concerned. Government is again planning to restart various other fertilizer plants that were shut earlier. So this is what the commitment of the government is after reopening or restarting the Gorakhpur fertilizer plant that was the long pending demand primarily of the people of Uttar Pradesh.
Right, Arun, and also the launch, the inauguration of these mega infrastructure projects was also an occasion for both Prime Minister and the Chief Minister to target the political opponents, really juxtaposing their model of governance, of development, and the others.
Absolutely. So see, the idea is that how in last 7 years, primarily in center, and of course, under the Yogi Adityanath's government in Uttar Pradesh, the double engine government, that's what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been reiterating, the fact that it's the double engine government. That means even in center, there is a BJP government, and in the state, there is a BJP government. And that's the reason how UP is benefiting from it. Now, as far as Investor Summit is concerned, UP is one of the favorite destinations as far as the investors are concerned. Today, Uttar Pradesh is known or is considered to be the capital of expressways all across the country. 28% is the market share of expressways in Uttar Pradesh. So the highest number of expressways are there in state like Uttar Pradesh. When we talk about the healthcare infrastructure, largest number of beneficiaries under the Ayushman Bharat Yojana that we have witnessed in a state like Uttar Pradesh. When we talk about Shauchalay or the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, maximum toilet construction has taken place in state like Uttar Pradesh. When we talk about various initiatives like Ujjwala Yojana or Ujala Yojana, over there also the Uttar Pradesh is having the largest number of beneficiaries all across the country. So it is because of the state and the center coordination. It is because of the BJP-led government both in center and state. It is the Uttar Pradesh, the people of Uttar Pradesh are benefiting from it. I mean, we talk about Uttar Pradesh's mega initiative known as One District, One Product. So the MSMEs of Uttar Pradesh are greatly benefiting from it, because all across the country, there are close to 9 to 10 crore MSMEs in our country, and out of which there are close to 1.25 crore MSMEs specifically in Uttar Pradesh. So because of the various incentives, it is because of various ecosystem that has been created by the government, the MSMEs of the Uttar Pradesh are also benefiting. And that's the reason the political or the opposition on one side, are trying to do a caste-based politics. But on the other side, the ruling party over here is clearly mentioning this point that it is because of the double engine sarkar or double engine government and the kind of reforms that have been done by the government.
Okay.
The people of Uttar Pradesh are benefiting, and the ease of life is being given to the people of Uttar Pradesh, of course. So that's the big point over here when Prime Minister Narendra Modi clearly highlighting this point of double engine ki sarkar.
There, Arun, thanks very much for joining us with those inputs, the mega infrastructure projects launched by Prime Minister in Gorakhpur. Thanks very much, Arun. Moving on now to our developing story. And Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has reached Bangladesh on a two-day visit. Foreign Secretary will call on Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina tomorrow. Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, and also meet the Foreign Secretary Masood bin Momen. Foreign Secretary's visit to Bangladesh a day after Maitri Divas celebrations will provide an opportunity to review the wide-ranging cooperation between the two countries. The visit will also help prepare for the state visit of President Ramnath Kovind to Bangladesh from December 15th to 17th. In this special year, India and Bangladesh are jointly commemorating 50 years of establishment of the diplomatic ties. India's relationship with Bangladesh is one of the strongest pillars of its neighborhood first policy. And Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has called for recommitting the two countries towards further strengthening the long-standing dynamic partnership between Bangladesh and India. Delivering her address at the event organized by Indian Council of World Affairs in Delhi on the occasion of Maitri Divas yesterday, Prime Minister Hasina said that the golden jubilee of establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries is a milestone in the journey of bilateral relations between Bangladesh and India. Addressing the meeting, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla said celebrations of Maitri Divas demonstrate the resilience, durability and strength of our bonds. It honors and consecrates the memory of shared struggle and continued solidarity between India and Bangladesh. Let's now connect to our correspondent Rajesh Shah, who's reporting from Dhaka with more on the Foreign Secretary's visit to Bangladesh. Rajesh, if you could take us through the significance of this visit, particularly in view of President Covid's upcoming state visit to Bangladesh.
Shubhendu, if you remember, this is probably the third visit of Foreign Secretary Shringla to Bangladesh. And you know, Bangladesh has had recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Bangladesh in March, and President Ramnath Kovind would be visiting Bangladesh between 15th and 17th December to take part in the Victory Day celebrations. And Foreign Minister had also visited Bangladesh. There has been a large number of, in fact, top-level visits, despite COVID. The situation in Bangladesh has been too many. There have been several such visits of people from high-ranking officials and political personalities visiting Bangladesh. In the context of this, Foreign Secretary Shringla's visit is apparently in the meanwhile for preparing for the visit of President Ramnath Kovind, and he will be having several meetings, including a meeting with the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina tomorrow. Today he already has a meeting with Foreign Secretary.
My colleague Rajesh Shah reporting from Dhaka. There seems to be a little technical issue in connecting with Rajesh at the moment. Rajesh giving us update on Foreign Secretary's visit to Bangladesh. Rajesh, if you can continue to hear us, we'd like to hear from you about the broad agenda of the Foreign Secretary's visit. We lost connection with you. Yeah, you're back. Go on, please.
Yes. So, after coming back after the meeting between the two foreign secretaries, the Foreign Secretary said, the Indian Foreign Secretary said that both the countries have decided to step up their cooperation in the field of IT and green technology and new areas which were otherwise not on the on a very high priority. And incidentally, the visit of President will culminate in the high-level visit that started with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And as you are referring to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's speech yesterday during the ICWA function in Delhi, Prime Minister Hasina has underlined the importance of India-Bangladesh relations, and she said that strengthening of 50 years of diplomatic relations by concentrating on people-to-people contact, trade, business and connectivity is going to be the priority of the relations between the two countries. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina also underlined the fact that Golden Jubilee of diplomatic relations is a milestone in India-Bangladesh relations. If I tell you, yesterday was the Maitri Divas, and in which the function that was held in Dhaka, a large number of top political leaders of Bangladesh, including several ministers, foreign minister, law minister, land minister, were present in the meeting. The Navy, the Chief of the Army Staff was present in the meeting, and the Speaker of the Bangladesh Parliament was the chief guest. And during the event, everybody recalled about the importance of the India-Bangladesh relations and its historic, its cultural roots, its roots in the past, which is becoming stronger by the day. So I believe this visit of Foreign Secretary Shringla will prepare for the visit of President Ramnath Kovind. And this is going to add another milestone in firming up the relationship between India and Bangladesh, which will be seeing many more such milestones in future.
Right there, Rajesh. Thanks very much for joining us with those inputs from Dhaka. And moving on to our National Prime segment. Let's take an update on the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive. With administration of over 79.39 lakh vaccine doses in the last 24 hours, India's COVID vaccination coverage has exceeded over 128.76 crore landmark. The exact figures: 128 crore 76 lakh 10,590 vaccine doses have been administered across the country so far. And President Ramnath Kovind, who is in Maharashtra, today visited the Air Force Station in Lohegaon in Pune. He witnessed a flying display and also interacted with the Air Warriors. Flag pin on the occasion of Armed Forces Flag Day was also presented, and the President reviewed the aircraft lineup. President yesterday visited the Raigad Fort and paid tributes to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Tomorrow, President Kovind will be in Mumbai to present the President's Standard to 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron in Mumbai. And today is the Armed Forces Flag Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings of the day to the personnel of armed forces for their distinct contribution to the nation. Prime Minister in his tweet said, and I quote, "On Armed Forces Flag Day, I would like to acknowledge once again the exemplary contributions of our armed forces. Their perseverance, courage are outstanding. I would also urge you all to contribute towards forces' welfare." Moving on, in Lok Sabha, Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju will move the High Court and Supreme Court judges' salaries and conditions of service Amendment Bill 2021 for consideration and passing, while in Rajya Sabha, Mansukh Mandavia will move the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2021 for consideration and passing. The bill provides for the regulation and supervision of assisted reproductive technology clinics and the assisted reproductive technology banks, and so on. Union Health Minister will also present the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020 for consideration and passing. The bill aims to constitute National Surrogacy Board, state surrogacy boards, and appointment of appropriate authorities for regulation of the practice and the process of surrogacy. In Nagaland, an emergency cabinet meeting was held in Kohima. The meeting was chaired by Chief Minister Nephew Rio. The cabinet has decided to write to centre to repeal the APSFA from Nagaland. Also, Hornbill Festival to be called off in solidarity with the civilians killed in the Mon district. Only artisans stall and perishable goods stalls shall remain open. And time now for all the updates from the world of business and finance in Midday Prime. And my colleague Tanvi brings us more.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Up first in Business Prime, the Indian economy is showing strong signs of recovery from the devastation caused by the pandemic, with an upswing being reported in 19 of the 22 economic indicators as compared to the pre-COVID levels. High-frequency indicators, HFIs, are being monitored to track the progress of economic recovery in India since the first COVID-19 case was reported in the country in January last year. The latest information indicates that among 22 HFIs, full recovery has been achieved in respect of 19 HFIs, as their latest levels in the months of September, October and November this year are higher than the pre-pandemic levels in the corresponding months of 2019. Among the 19 HFIs, there are some indicators whose recovery is way beyond 100%, such as e-way bills by volume, merchandise exports, coal production and rail freight traffic, which suggests that not only the recovery is complete, the economic growth is also gathering momentum over the pre-pandemic levels of output. This is further confirmed by the estimates of the GDP recently released for Q2, that is July to September period of 2021-22 fiscal, whose year-on-year growth in real terms at 8.4% takes the output level higher than the pre-pandemic level of Q2 output in 2019-20. The only sectors that are yet to touch the pre-pandemic levels are steel consumption, which is 99% of 2019 levels in October, domestic auto sales, that are 86% of pre-COVID levels, and air passenger traffic, which is 66% of the October 2019 volume. And the domestic stock markets have rallied very strongly on Tuesday so far. So after a robust opening, the Sensex at the BSE gained even more ground and had spurted 1,088 points, so 1.9% to 57,836 in afternoon deals a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange jumped 318 points, so 1.9% to 17,230. The broader market also supported the rally, with the BSE Mid-Cap Index climbing 1.3% and the Small Cap Index advancing 1.1%. The top index gainers on the BSE so far are ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Tata Steel, Kotak Mahindra and Bajaj Finance, with gains of between 2.9% and 4%. Most other key Asian stock markets also posted strong gains on Tuesday on receding worries about the impact of the Omicron variant, while Chinese markets were supported by the central bank easing monetary policy. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan advanced 1.3% after declining on Monday to the lowest level in 1 year. Japan's Nikkei 225 index had surged 1.9%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng index had surged 2.4%, and South Korea's Kospi had climbed 0.5%. China's Shanghai Composite Index was trading flat. The People's Bank of China said on Monday that it would cut the amount of cash that banks must hold in reserve, releasing the funds in long-term liquidity to bolster slowing economic growth. The People's Bank of China thereby freed up $188 billion in liquidity through its policy easing. Analysts said that with this cut, policymakers are demonstrating a more forceful approach to prevent an all-out property market rout. Overnight on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had surged 647 points, or 1.9%, its biggest daily points gain in more than a year. The S&P 500 had jumped 1.2%, and the Nasdaq Composite Index had advanced 0.9%. US stocks rose as investors shrugged off uncertainty about the Omicron virus and concerns about the US Federal Reserve's or central bank's policy path, even though analysts expect volatility to remain in force. So that's it from the world of business for now. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thanks very much, Tanvi, for joining us with those updates. Let's now breaking news across the world. And first up, updates on the COVID-19 front from across the globe. COVID-19 cases have begun spiraling once again globally. The tally of COVID cases has crossed 26 crore 61 lakh globally, while so far more than 23 crore 96 lakh people have also recovered from the virus. Over 52 lakh 70,000 people have lost their lives to the virus so far. United States continues to remain the worst affected country with the disease, registering more than 4 crore 99 lakh cases and over 8 lakh fatalities. And COVID-19 cases have been mushrooming all across European countries, with the United Kingdom being the hardest hit in the continent. The UK has more than 1 crore 4 lakh cases of COVID-19, followed by France, where the cases have risen above 79 lakh 17,000. Germany is also registering spike in the number of cases, with the total tally standing above 61 lakh 79,000. Italy trails behind it, where over 51 lakh COVID cases have been registered. Amid the growing fear of the Omicron variant, the World Health Organization's Strategic Advisory Group of experts on immunization will meet today to discuss the evidence on the need for booster doses of COVID vaccines and also recommendations for the same for countries across the world. Currently, WHO maintains the evidence remains limited and still inconclusive on any widespread need for booster doses following a primary vaccination series. There is a growing chorus for that need to start vaccinating the vulnerable population given the new threat of the fifth variant of concern, Omicron, and concerns are growing with regard to the waning immunity and risk of severe disease. Meanwhile, US has announced a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, China. White House has said no official delegation would be sent to the Games because of the concerns about China's human rights record. It, however, said US athletes could attend and would have the government's full support.
The Biden administration will not send any diplomatic or official representation to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympic Games, given the PRC's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang and other human rights abuses. The athletes on Team USA have our full support. We will be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home. We will not be contributing to the fanfare of the Games.
And after United States, New Zealand has also announced that the country will not be sending diplomatic representatives at a ministerial level meeting to the Beijing Winter Olympics in February of 2022. Talking to reporters, Deputy Prime Minister Grant Robertson said there was a range of factors behind this decision.
We've already made clear that we won't be represented there at a ministerial level. We made that clear to China, I think, in October. And so for us, that's a decision we've already made. But we've made clear to China on numerous occasions our concerns about human rights issues, as recently as the Prime Minister talking to President Xi. So they're well aware of our view on human rights, but we had already made the decision not to attend.
And Japan has meanwhile said it will make its own decision on whether to send diplomatic representatives to the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno told a daily news conference the country has yet to make a decision and will consider a number of factors when it decides. And US Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke to the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday ahead of President Joe Biden's call with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Blinken reiterated Washington's unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty in the face of Russian aggression. US President will hold talks with his Russian counterpart today, during which he is expected to warn Russia of severe economic consequences should Russia go ahead with invasion of Ukraine.
We believe there is an opportunity, a window before us to resolve this diplomatically, chiefly through full implementation of the Minsk agreements. That is our priority. That is where we wish to invest our efforts. At the same time, we've been clear that if Moscow shows no interest in investing in a diplomatic off-ramp, that the United States and our partners, and we heard this loud and clear from our NATO allies in Riga last week, that we would be prepared to implement measures that we have not implemented in the past. Specifically, should Russia follow this path of confrontation and military action, we have made clear to Moscow that we will respond resolutely, including with a range of what we have called high-impact economic measures that we've refrained from using in the past.
And US President Joe Biden and Russia's President Vladimir Putin will speak via video conferencing today amid mounting tensions over Ukraine. During the conversation, US President is likely to underscore US concerns with Russian military activities on the border with Ukraine and reaffirm United States support for sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. During his call with the Russian president, these are likely going to be the focus. The US and its European allies have discussed imposing sanctions on Russia if it takes aggressive action. Ukraine says Russia has deployed armored vehicles, electronic warfare systems and troops along their shared border. Russia has denied it and accused Ukraine of executing its own troop buildup. You're watching Midday Prime. Time now for all the action from the world of sports. And And my colleague Deepika brings us all the updates.
Good afternoon, Shubhendu. Let us quickly take a look at all what is happening in the world of sports, and starting with the latest update. England's leading wicket taker James Anderson has been rested for the first Ashes test against Australia, with Oli Pope preferred to Johnny Bairstow in the 12-man squad. England insisted that it is not an injury related and is part of the management plan to have him primed for the day and night test in Adelaide next week. And moving on, while answering to one of the questions in Lok Sabha today, Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said the government is taking significant steps towards the betterment of states on the lines of Act East policy, and a national sports university will soon be made ready in Imphal.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने नॉर्थ ईस्ट की ओर जब पहले ये कहा था कि पूर्व की सरकारों में लुक ईस्ट की बात चलती थी, हमने एक्ट ईस्ट की बात की है और नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी 550 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से वहां बनाने के लिए नींव पत्थर भी रखा। मणिपुर के इम्फाल में ये नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी बनने जा रही है और कोविड के कारण जो पिछले कुछ दिनों में कमी आई है, लेकिन आप देखेंगे इसमें प्रगति बहुत तेजी से होगी और देश को अपनी नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी मिलेगी।
And Cricket South Africa on Monday released the updated schedule of the Indian men's cricket team's upcoming tour of South Africa. The series, which was initially supposed to start from the 17th of December, will now begin from the 26th of December. The first test will be played at the Super Sport Park in Centurion from 26th to the 30th of December. The Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg will host second test from 3rd to 7th of January 2022, while the third match of the series will be played in Newlands in Cape Town from 11th to 15th of January. India will also play 3 ODIs, but the 4-match T20 International Series will be rescheduled for later, as announced by the BCCI earlier. ODIs will be played on the 19th of January, 21st of January and 23rd of January. And India will host Denmark for next Davis Cup Tennis Championships World Group Contest, scheduled for 4th to 5th of March next year. This would be India's first home Davis Cup since February 2019, when it hosted Italy and lost by 1-3 in Kolkata. Even though Denmark has a singles player in Holger Rune, who's higher ranked than all the Indian players, it can still be considered a favourable draw for the host. It will be the first tie between the two nations since September 1984, when India won 3-2 at Aarhus. The two teams have not clashed much, as the only other time they played was in the year 1927, when Denmark whitewashed India 5-0 in the quarter-final in Copenhagen. And for the third round of the FA Cup, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa will travel to Manchester United, while last season's runner-up Chelsea will host non-league Chesterfield. Holders Leicester have been drawn at home to Watford, and former manager Claudio Ranieri in another all-Premier League tie. West Ham will take on Leeds at the London Stadium. Chesterfield, currently top of the National League, are one of 4 non-league clubs in the draw. That's all from the world of sports. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thanks very much, Deepika, for getting us all those updates. And now it's time to find out what's in store in Life Prime today. And speed cubers from across the world went head-to-head at the virtual 2021 Red Bull Rubik's Cube World Cup finals over the weekend, with American Max Park winning 2 golds and retaining his crown in the coveted speed cubing event. Park was crowned world champion in the speed cubing mixed event for the second year running. Another American, 16 years old, Tommy Cherry, won the title in the re-scramble event. Cherry's fastest solve in the final of 15.298 seconds also set a new record for the Rubik's Cube World Cup event. In the women's event, Frances Sebastian won the gold. The tournament now is in its 4th year, saw more than 6,000 entrants from more than 50 countries, whittled down to 32 of the fastest solvers till the winner was chosen. 6.73. And British in Belgium is magical all year round, but the magic really peaks during the Christmas. The Christmas tree is up again and the stalls are open in the picturesque Belgian town for the annual Christmas market. The quaint markets in the market and the Simon Stifline turn the whole city centre into a foodie hub. that sells incredible homemade hot chocolate as well as local cheese and, of course, the world-famous chocolates. One of the many places in Europe which lays claim to the Venice of the North. Bruges is a tourist site famed for its medieval buildings arranged around a network of canals and cobbled streets. Yemen's capital city Sana'a saw magnificent wedding celebrations of as many as 7,200 men and women at a community wedding. The bridegrooms in the traditional costume, complete with the jambia, the Yemeni dagger, performed traditional dance in the mass wedding ceremony held on Friday. The wedding was financed entirely by local charities to help young couples get married, as the country has been mired deep in war and economic woes.
والذين يواجهون ظروفا صعبة خصوصا في وضع الحرب. بارك الله في الجميع. بارك الله في الجميع.
Quite a celebration, and with that we conclude this edition of Midday Prime. News and updates continue after a short break. Namaskar.